Today, Governor Tim Walz signed the Driver's License for All bill into law. This will allow all Minnesotans to get a driver's license regardless of immigration status, as long as they pass their written and practical tests. Advocates say this law will change lives for the better.
For almost exactly 20 years, Minnesota has put in place a piece of legislation that came in the fallout of the September 11th attacks. A piece of legislation that did nothing to improve public safety, but caused great personal harm, great community harm, and great economic harm to our state. That policy of denying driver's licenses to folks who were doing all kinds of jobs across Minnesota, of folks who were all kinds of people to someone else. Sister, brother, husband, wife, mother, father, grandmother, aunts, uncles, friends, people that are here in Minnesota. All of us acknowledge we need the federal government to be good partners and get true reform so that folks that want to call Minnesota home and want to be here, we welcome them, want them here, and want to make that process easier for them. And in this country and in Minnesota, possessing a driver's license is in many cases absolutely a necessity. Public transportation doesn't exist, especially in large parts of rural Minnesota. Having access to the ability to drive is so many times the key to stable economics, to making sure you have a home to live in, making sure that there's a paycheck there. And during this debate, all these mythical scenarios of people who are going to use a driver's license, which is not used in Minnesota to vote, but that's what they were going to do. There's not a single case in 20 years of that happening. But you know what there are thousands of cases of? People who had to worry about driving their child to a friend's birthday party. Thousands of cases of people who simply wanted to get to work, to do a job, collect a paycheck, and take care of their family. Those happened every single day. And I want to just champion the folks who are here, the folks who courageously spoke out and told those stories, people who talked about as young children being in the back in the car seat of their parents' car and being terrified of being pulled over for something as simple of a stop sign violation or something. The trauma that caused to an entire generation for 20 years. And let's be very clear, in states that have implemented driver's licenses for all, accident rates of hit and runs go down. People are qualified to get a license, go through the training, get insurance, and go about living their lives.
And it is an honor to be a part of this great government that we have, the great leadership that we have. It's been a long way coming. I was in high school when those rights were taken away from our village, from our community, from our best friends, from our families. And it's been a dedication of organizing in this movement together, not just in St. Paul and Minneapolis, but this entire state, which is represented here. And we said, si se puede and si se pudo. And you know, this Boricua with a lot of love for and knowing the privilege that my family has of documentation, we fight for the documentation of all of our immigrants. And I'm very emotional right now because I've been on the phone all morning with so many of my friends who still can't believe that on October 1st they get to go and get their license.
After almost 2 decades of advocacy, protests, sit-ins, hunger strike. Thank you to Rosa, my sister, for doing 7 days for me. And rallies trying to change hearts and minds. We can now breathe a little bit of the relief from that trauma because our laws won't real change for our community. We are Latinos who are gathering to build power and make our voice heard.
I want to express my gratitude to everyone who has been working hard for this moment. One thing that we have learned for sure, and that this struggle has been teaching us, that nothing about us without us is for us. It is important that we don't forget this moment. If we forget this moment, 5, 10 years later, it will be undone. So the same way that we remember that in 2003, driver licenses were taken, let's keep in mind that in March of 2023, they were restored. And let's keep that in mind, in our heart, and let's teach our kids what happened and why that happened, because otherwise it can be undone as well.